I'm back. I'm back, people. The one and the only. Yours truly. I'm back. I should play like Eric Bishop's theme song. I'm back and better than ever. Woo! What is up, everybody? Give you guys some time to get into the chat, but yes, it's been a while. Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your boy Fitz TV here, aka G-Lauren33. I am back here tonight with another episode of the Legit Shoot podcast. Here tonight with your AEW Revolution 2022 review and result. Thank you guys so very much for joining me on the channel. I know it is midnight. Some of you guys, you're probably sleeping right now because you have school in the morning. Some of you guys are like, what? Fitz is back. I thought he stopped doing wrestling reviews. I checked before I, started the stream. And, on YouTube, your last stream, when you go to start a new stream, right, it automatically puts in everything you had from your previous stream, right? And it said that my last stream was January 31st. So it's been over a month since I've done an official live stream. I posted a couple videos, but I haven't been, as consistent as I usually am because I'm busy with my real job and lots of other things. But and if I'm being 100% honest, I'm losing my desire to podcast. Not because I don't want to do it. It's just WWE has been so depressing to watch during WrestleMania season. It's just that I wasn't feeling, up to doing wrestling podcasts. And that, I want to do wrestling podcasts, but with everything going on, it was just depressing, and I don't have to get into it, right? I'm sure I'll mention it a little bit over the course of the review, but I feel like this is one of the worst WrestleMania seasons of all time, if, potentially the worst WrestleMania season we've ever had. And I just don't have any desire really to cover, the road to WrestleMania, even though that would have, it would bring traction to the channel because this is supposed to be the biggest time of the year for professional wrestling as we're on the road to WrestleMania. But I'm being honest, I just don't have that desire right now, right? So that's why I wasn't really making many podcast videos or anything like that. But I knew with Revolution tonight, I knew that Revolution was going to deliver. And I was like, fuck it, let's get back to it, right? I'm not going to promise this means I'm going to be back doing, wrestling reviews every single day now like I used to because, look, we have Revolution tonight, which was fantastic, which we're going to get into in just a couple moments. But I'll wake up tomorrow and I got to be like, Monday Night Raw tomorrow night, And even though there's a couple good things going on Raw, like with AJ Styles and Edge and, that stuff, I'm just not really interested. So that's just my stance on that. But, we got AEW Revolution tonight. And man, oh man, what a show. Excuse me, what a show it was. What a show it was. And just, if you need my thoughts on the show and everything we saw tonight, it's simple. Simply put, this was WrestleMania tonight. This is what WrestleMania is supposed to be. Right? Not all this nonsense with you having 1,000 celebrities like Bad Bunny and Logan Paul and, Johnny Knoxville and all these other people appear and have matches on the card, and it's not bringing back 1,000 legends. I understand, yes, WrestleMania is a big time, but, tonight with Revolution, that's what WWE should be aiming to do with WrestleMania. The focus should be on the wrestling. The focus should be on the storylines. It's that simple. AEW did this perfectly, or almost perfect, because nothing is perfect. But AEW tonight, they did a fantastic job over the last couple of weeks building up to this show with a lot of the angles. Remember, a lot of these angles for many of these matches started off about a month and a half ago, and we've seen it. And just seeing it now, they did a beautiful job, beautiful job with the build up to the show and the show itself. Right? Some people are gonna say this was a perfect pay-per-view tonight. I'm not gonna say that just because there's no such thing really as a perfect pay-per-view. But I will say, what I will say is this was an amazing show. This was an amazing show. And I'm going to compare, this show to WrestleMania because we have WrestleMania in about a month, right? AEW's next pay-per-view won't be until the middle of May when they have Double or Nothing, right? And I know AEW doesn't have their own version of WrestleMania per se, but let's call this, whatever, their WrestleMania of this season because AEW usually does about, 4 pay-per-views during the year, right? About 4 or 5 pay-per-views during the year, one each season. And, our next pay-per-view won't be until, middle of the springtime. This is like their winter pay-per-view. So let's call it how it is, And tonight's show was amazing. If this was their WrestleMania per se, whatever you want to look at it, they did an amazing job. And WWE should really just be slapping themselves in the face. Because so much of the talent you saw on the show was in WWE at one time. William Regal, Bryan Danielson, Jon Moxley, right? The list goes on and on. Adam Cole, Keith Lee, Christian Cage. I could go on and on and on. That was a majority of the talent you saw on tonight's show was once in WWE. A year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And look at what they're doing with AEW now. If they were still with WWE, what would they even be having? Would they even be used consistently in storylines? I don't know. I don't think so. And it's disappointing because you see how great this talent is, right? And WWE just refuses to use them. Like when William Regal came out tonight, I was shocked. I was in shock because first of all, William Regal doesn't have a theme song, but I see William Regal and he walks out. I'm going crazy. I'm like, what the fuck? Because I never thought this, a couple years ago, you think I would have thought that William Regal would be in AEW? No, I thought that guy was WWE for life, NXT for life. And then just a couple months ago, right, he gets released from WWE because Vince wants to stick it to Triple H and get rid of everybody from the old era, which is sad and pathetic. And now here we are. How long was it? Has it even been 3 months since William Regal was released? It doesn't feel like it's been that long. But however long ago he was released, he appears tonight on Revolution. And I'm sitting there, not only am I shocked, like, holy shit, but I'm thinking, like, holy shit, how dumb can WWE get? Because this is what WWE doesn't realize. You can release all the talent you want. 85% of that talent's probably going to AEW. Tony Khan is rich. He has money to waste. Especially now that he's buying Ring of Honor. The guy has so much money at his disposal, he doesn't know what to do with it. He just wants to throw it at every single guy that WWE releases. Who else is going to end up there? Right? You think Jeff Hardy's going to end up there any day now? Even though I know WWE's trying to sue Jeff Hardy, right? Because of contract tampering and all that other stuff. And, Samoa Joe, I would be surprised if Samoa Joe, I'm willing to bet CM Punk is already talking to Samoa Joe on the side. And, like, Joe, come on. Samoa Joe would be a great addition to AEW. And we're, Ember Moon, I'm still waiting for her to end up there. Hopefully Tegan Nox, Tony Storm. We're all waiting for them to end up in AEW, right? That's what WWE doesn't realize. You still, I would know how much more talented WWE's roster is than AEW now, because with all the talent they've released, the gap has, has been closed significantly, but still, you have so much talent on that freaking roster that you don't use, and then you release them, and you think, oh yeah, nothing's gonna make of them. They're just gonna go to the indie scene. No, they're just gonna go to AEW. Every time you release a talent, you're not helping yourself, you're helping AEW. You're giving them more and more star power. That's what they just don't understand. They just don't understand that, and it's sad. It's sad, and that's the point I'm trying to make. AEW Revolution tonight was carried by former WWE stars. It wasn't even the stars that were there, before AEW got big. It's mainly stars that WWE has released over the last year, and then it's just grown and grown and grown. That's the thing that people just don't understand. And it's just really, if I'm WWE or if I work for WWE, I would be kicking myself, because they can act all they want saying, oh, we don't care what AEW does. Yes, you do. You pay attention to everything that AEW is doing, right? And WWE should be kicking themselves for letting all that talent go tonight. You take away all that talent that should be in WWE if WWE booked them better. Would AEW Revolution still be a good show? Probably. But I will keep saying this. This show tonight was carried, absolutely carried by former WWE stars. And the biggest moments came from former WWE stars. And it's just sad that, WWE just didn't do more with this talent. Because this is talent that we should be seeing being used on WWE programming on the road to WrestleMania. Right? Keith Lee, I said it last year, Keith Lee should be built up to be a WWE or Universal Champion at this time. Keith Lee would have been amazing to be the guy to take that title off for Roman Reigns. But now he's in AEW because WWE wanted to use a stupid Bearcat gimmick with him and have him face jobbers. When Keith Lee is too damn good to be used in that manner. This is the stuff that pisses me off about WWE. It really, really pisses me off, right? And I know I'm gonna keep talking about WWE at different points of the podcast, and that it is what it is. But AEW Revolution tonight was fantastic. This was a fantastic show, fantastic show. Was it perfect? No, I don't think there's any such thing as a perfect show. But AEW Revolution did deliver on all of the hype, and all of that talent back there should be proud. So there was a lot of matches on this card. Or look, I have no problem doing a long podcast, but you never know. You never know. We'll see how long this podcast goes tonight. But anyway, look, and let me know in the comment section what was your favorite moment of the night. Let me know what was your favorite match. All of those things. All right. If you guys are new to the channel, of course, thank you guys for tuning in. No matter if you guys are in the chat for the stream or if you guys are watching on demand after the stream is over. Thank you guys so very much. If you guys enjoy, make sure to leave a like on the video. Also, make sure to subscribe to my channel by hitting the big red button next to my name, Fitz TV, along with clicking the bell so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. Thank you for everything. Follow me down on social media. The link's in the description down below. Thank you to those who what's the word I'm looking for? Followed me while I was live tweeting. You guys are amazing. But anyway, let's get into tonight's show. There was a lot of matches on this card, which we know, of course, that's the way AEW goes with these pay-per-views. AEW only does one pay-per-view every 3 months. So, of course, the card is going to be stacked and loaded with tons and tons of matches. So there was 13 matches on the card. Well, no, 12 matches on the card if you include the buy-in. I'm not going to go through the buy-in just for the sake of time, right? If you guys want, you guys can go search up the results for that. The only thing I'll mention from the buy-in is the last match, which was House of Black versus Pac, Penta, and Eric Redbeard, aka Eric Rowan. If you guys didn't watch Rampage on Friday, Eric Redbeard did get a huge ovation in his official AEW debut. Well, he did appear on AEW once before when they did the what's his name? The guy that used to be in the Y fam. I'm forgetting his name. But he used to be the leader of the Dark Order. Do you remember when they did his tribute show and everything? I don't believe I'm forgetting his name, but that was the one other time that Redbeard appeared on AEW television. It was more of a one and done. But But anyway, he was in for the 6 man tag, and I heard this match was really good, so I'll just skip to the end. So Penta took out Matthews and Black, because Buddy Matthews used to be Buddy Murphy. Uh, Took them out with a break crossbody. Then they went on for a few more minutes, but the House of Black took out Redbeard for the win. So really good 6 man tag. To finish off the pre show. This is a match that I kind of knew was going to be on the pre show. They could have put it on the main show if they wanted, but the main card was nearly 4 hours. So for the sake of time, right? That's the reason why I was on the pre-show, But still, it was still really good, and of course, the House of Black remains dominant. I'm just thinking that eventually, at some point, we're probably gonna get a trios championship in AEW. There's just so many big faction groups, right? Especially when you have a group as dominant as the House of Black. A trios championship might be perfect for them. You think of I'm not gonna call them Undisputed Era, aka Red Dragon and Adam Cole. You have the Young Bucks, right? There's so many groups. But I'm just saying at some point you're probably gonna have a trios championship. Probably. But anyway, getting into the main card, right? The main card, the show started off hot with Chris Jericho and Eddie Kingston. I had a feeling this match or Bryan Danielson and Moxley. I thought that one of these two matches were gonna start the show. Eddie Kingston, he opens up a good amount of AEW pay per views, or at least the ones that he's been on. But you could tell that from the second this match was announced, this seemed like this was gonna be a match that if Eddie Kingston didn't win, it would be a shocker. Chris Jericho doesn't need the win. Of course, Jericho is Jericho. He's a legend. It wouldn't hurt him if he won or lost. This was more about Eddie Kingston. Some people would argue that if Eddie Kingston won this match tonight, this would be the most or the biggest win of Eddie Kingston's career. And that is a valid argument. And remember, these two had an amazing promo segment last Wednesday, or I believe it was last Wednesday. They had an amazing promo segment on Dynamite, because Jericho called himself basically the AEW standard barrier, which you could make argument that he is. I would say either him or Moxley. Those two are the standard barriers for AEW at the moment. I would put Cody in there as well, but Cody's not there, which is very interesting. Just because that's a little side note. What do you guys think Cody Rhodes thinks of tonight's show? It still baffles my mind that he's no longer in AEW. And I've heard reports that, of course, the talks between him and WWE have stalled, but still, I still think it's probably highly likely that we see Cody join WWE around WrestleMania or the night after Mania. Still. But it's still I find it crazy that he left AEW. So I wonder what Cody was thinking watching that show tonight, wherever he was. If he was at home or something else. My guess is he's proud of what AEW's become, but still shocking to me that he's no longer there. Anyway, back to it. So so Jericho and Kingston, right? They opened the show, and this was a fight. Just like a lot of the matches on this show. This was this was a fight. Plus, that Orlando crowd, they were hot to start it off. They were hot, they were ready to go. And of course, everybody was excited. So these two are just going at it. Kingston ran into the ring, and as soon as the bell was rung, they went at it. So near the end here, Jericho, he got the walls of Jericho in, but Kingston was able to fight out. Then Jericho was able to hit the code breaker, but Kingston kicked out. And one thing that I always think of when I'm watching AEW matches, man, I've watched thousands of WWE matches my whole life, so it's just shocking to me when there's so many crazy near falls in AEW. falls that would usually be a 3 in WWE, they're just a near fall in AEW, right? And there was just so many of these scattered all across this pay per view tonight, and uh Kingston fought back and he hit a couple back what was it? A couple back elbows or no backhands to Jericho. Then he hit him with this. I forget what the submission was called. But Jericho tapped out, which was very shocking because Jericho is a babyface. Both Kingston and Jericho, they're both beloved baby faces. Even though Jericho was acting a little bit heelish here, a little bit heelish. And the thing with of course, Kingston, the crowd was with him, the entire match. Jericho got his cheers as well, right? But definitely the crowd was more on the side of Kingston than Jericho. They wanted to see Kingston win. And, the crowd gave Kingston a huge pop after the tap out, right? And, Kingston was a little bit of shocked, but, he was happy to get the victory. Like I said, some people may call this Kingston's biggest victory so far in his career. Probably definitely his biggest victory in AEW so far. And, awesome match to open up the show. What was interesting is after the match, especially when you have two beloved baby faces, right? After the match, Kingston went to shake Jericho's hand and Jericho refused. And remember, during their promo segment on Dynamite, Jericho did say, if you beat me, Kingston, right, you win the big one, because Jericho called himself the big one, that Kingston would have his respect. So Kingston was very confused that Jericho wouldn't shake his hand. And Jericho left the ring. He got a little bit of boos, but not too many. But that was that. Could Jericho be turning heel again? Remember, of course, during his first run at the beginning of AEW when he was the La Champion, he was a heel. Then, he turned into a beloved babyface about a year ago, maybe a little bit over a year ago. And yeah, but things haven't been the best for Jericho as late on television. The Inner Circle, they have been falling apart because Santana and Ortiz kind of want to do their own thing now, and they feel like Jericho's holding them back, right? Sammy Guevara's been, busy with the TNT title, and Hagley, you guys know what I'm talking about. Hagley, he's busy with his MMA career. So Jericho, and now Jericho loses to Eddie Kingston. So things have not been the best for Jericho as of late, right? So maybe Jericho could turn heel again. I wouldn't be surprised if he did, but he's so beloved as a babyface. I don't know if the crowd would even boo him. Remember, even when Jericho was the La Champion, they weren't booing him. When you're singing the guy's theme song all the time, right? Even when he's a heel, no matter how huge he tried to be, the crowd would always go back to loving him, which forced him to turn babyface. So I don't know. I don't know if Jericho, turns heel. I don't know what he does here. But, it is good that he gave Kingston the big rub, especially in the open of the show, which, was fantastic. So we'll see where Kingston goes from there, from here, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking maybe what they're doing with Moxley and Danielson, right? I find it very interesting that basically Moxley and Kingston, remember, they were a tag team before Moxley left late last year. We on television, of course, right? Because of course they probably had interactions all the time off camera, but on camera we haven't seen anything with Moxley and Kingston. So maybe Moxley goes to or not Moxley. Maybe Kingston goes to Moxley like, hey, what's going on? Now you're with Brian. Like, what's going on? Like, why? I would not be surprised if they want to do something where it ends up being Brian Danielson versus Eddie Kingston. I like that dynamic. And remember, we did see that match a couple months ago, back when they had the number one contenders AEW World Title tournament. But I would not mind seeing it again. I don't think you guys would mind seeing it again either. But still, that this was a great way to start the show, and Kingston and Jericho killed it, and we'll see what's next for both of these men. but definitely Kingston should have got the win. He deserved it. He needed it, and definitely a very, very good way to start the show. Next up, we had the triple threat tag team match for the AEW Tag Team Championships with the uh with Jurassic Express defending against Red Dragon and the Young or Red Dragon. I don't know why I said Red Dragon, but Red Dragon and the Young Bucks. And this was, you know, for me, I think CM Punk and MJF was match of the night. I know some people are going to say this match was match of the night. Probably easily the best tag team match we've had in all professional wrestling so far this year. These three teams absolutely killed it. Absolutely killed it. And remember, the Young Bucks won the Battle Royal Wednesday on Dynamite to get this opportunity, right? And they took full advantage of it. It was kind of a foregone conclusion in my eyes that the Jurassic Express was going to win because we know most of us, if you see where this is going, we know that at some point that Red Dragon and Young Bucks they're going to go at it, right? They've been slowly building that with all the tension between them, and that continued in this match. Remember, there was kind of an agreement between these two teams that they were going to focus on Jurassic Express, but still, you knew that it being a triple threat tag team title match, that they were going to come into conflict with one another at some point. And, the match really got good once Luchasaurus tagged in. Because for the most part, both teams took their time beating down on poor Jungle Boy. But once Luchasaurus came in, right, he started taking on everybody, going through both members of both teams. And Jungle Boy took out everybody at ringside, right? So then they went after Luchasaurus and focused on Luchasaurus at ringside and Jungle Boy in the ring. So then there was communication issues between both teams, right? I get the weirdest tag match. I get the weirdest text messages when I'm recording. Anyway, there was communication issues between both teams. Luchasaurus tagged in again and, bulldozed through everyone. Then Nick Jackson hit a destroyer to stop Dinosaur in his attack. But then he popped up and chokeslammed everyone a couple seconds later, right? Jungle Boy hit a beautiful shooting star press on Kyle O'Reilly while he was being held by Luchasaurus. That was an amazing spot. There was a spot where I thought the Young Bucks were gonna win. They super kicked everyone and flew to the outside of the ring. I'll give the Young Bucks credit, right? Because I'm not the biggest Young Bucks guy, but at least their attire tonight, they had those stupid ass what's it called? Those feathers they have at the bottom right before the shoe. I forget what it is at the end of their pants, but they didn't have that today. So thank you, Young Bucks, for getting rid of those flowers or whatever you want to call it. Anyway. So Jurassic Express, they hit their finisher and they scored the win. I believe they pinned the Young Bucks here. But either way, but yeah. But yeah, this was a great match. It was a great match. You knew what was going to happen because it's a triple threat match, right? At some point, the Young Bucks and Red Dragon were going to have to come into contact. One team was going to stop the other from winning the tag titles. You knew it. You knew it. It wasn't like one team was going to let the other team just roll over and win. You've seen that type of match 1,000 times in wrestling. You've seen it in a handicap match. You've seen it, other matches when it's two heel teams. You try to work together against the babyface. You've seen that type of match. But still, that, that storyline that you've seen so many times did not stop this match from being a classic. This was great. This was great. All three teams absolutely killed it. And of course, Jungle Boy probably the MVP of the match, like he usually is, But this was great between both teams, and that storyline will continue. The AEW tag division is still amazing, right? You got so many teams. You got FPR. You got I forget the name, the old DX member. The club. I forget what their names are. There's so many people at AEW. I forget half their names. But anyway, uh, the Gun Club, I believe. Yeah, that's what we call it, the Billy Gunn, the Gun Club. Anyway, there's so many great teams in AEW, so many challengers for Jurassic Express, so it doesn't really matter who they face. It's gonna be great. And whatever is next between the storyline between the Young Bucks and Red Dragon, that's gonna be amazing as well. We'll see how that continues in the coming weeks, but definitely for me, this was the second best match of the night. Some people are gonna say it was the best match of the night. I'm not gonna argue with them, but it was fantastic. Great stuff from everybody involved here. Really, really good stuff. Next up, we had the face of the Revolution ladder match. The winner would get a shot at the TNT title, and you could make an argument about why all 6 of these men should have won this match easily. Easily. It doesn't matter who won the match. It wouldn't have mattered at all because all 6 of these men are deserving. That's one thing that's great about AEW. They do a good job of booking everybody, or mostly everybody, right? And that was showcased here. You can't really complain whoever the champion is because that's great. And it is one of the problems with AEW too. They have some argue that they have too much star power. How do you book all that star power? You can make arguments that all of these superstars should be champions in their own right, which is fair. But for the most part, WWE or not WWE, AEW does a decent job of booking a lot of the star power that they have. So you had Orange Cassidy, Wardlow, Keith Lee, Kristen Cage, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks, you kind of knew he was going to win because he has the FTW title. Powerhouse Hobbs, he's with Ricky Starks, so it would have mattered to me. Powerhouse Hobbs was probably the least likely to win this match. To Orange Cassidy is Orange Cassidy. He doesn't need a title no matter what. He's still great. So to me, I was looking at these the final 3, right? Christian Cage, they really did play up his history in ladder matches. We know his history, right? With Edge and WWE, he won the World Heavyweight Championship in a ladder match and all that. But I was like, it's probably not gonna be him. So to me, it was coming down between Keith Lee and Wardlow, right? Remember Wednesday on Dynamite, after Wardlow won his match, MJF said that if Wardlow won the Face of the Revolution ladder match, he would get to keep the title shot. Because remember, there was a time where MJF said he wants to be both TNT and AEW World Champion. But MJF said that he could keep the title shot, and then he just him and Wardlow had a little bit of a disagreement, and he just slapped the shit out of Wardlow. You knew that was going to play a little bit of a storyline, and it did. It did. But this ladder match was fantastic. I can't stop saying good things about how great the match was. Really good. So Orange Cassidy, right? Orange Cassidy was jumping on people's backs. Orange Cassidy may have been the MVP of this match. He was hilarious. He did his normal kicks and everything, the hands in his pockets. He jumped on like Keith Lee's back to try to get to the ring, right? The brass ring. In our Discord server, Daisy, one of a friend of mine, she was saying it looked like a Sonic ring. If you've ever played a Sonic the Hedgehog video game, you guys know what I'm talking about, how you collect rings and stuff for points. So still, this was good. So Christian Cage took Powerhouse Hobbs off the ladder with a reverse DDT. Keith Lee took Orange Cassidy's body at one point and was using it as a weapon as he took everybody else. You really, the big man, Hobbs, Lee, and Wardlow really did show why they are the big man of AEW in this match. So, Hobbs hit Cassie with a superplex from a ladder leading in the corner, which was brutal, right? Starks shot himself through a ladder to take Cage off with a spear. And then also there was a point where all 6 men were fighting on 2 ladders. But then as everyone got thrown off, Hobbs and Wardlow were fighting on the top at the end. Like I said, all 3 of the powerhouses had some really, really good moments here. Lee picked up Orange Cassidy again and threw him out of the ring. Cage and Starks missed catching him, and he fell down really, really hard. Wardlow knocked Lee and Hobbs off the stage. So there was a point where all 3 men, they were fighting up the stage. I was like, oh, they got to be planning a big spot, a big table spot on the ramp, right? Because that could be the only reason why they're doing this spot. So they did that, and then Lee and Hobbs were going at it right next to the announce table, and then what's his name? Wardlow comes running out of the behind the stage, and then he just shoulder tackles both of them, and they fall off the stage into a couple tables, and that's where they would be for the rest of the match. So then back in the ring, we see that Starks was climbing, and he looked like he was gonna win, but then Dan Huzin came in and spooked and cursed Starks before ripping him off the ladder. And then Wardlow jumped onto one of the ladders and powerbombed Starks onto another in a brutal spot, absolutely brutal. And then Wardlow would grab the ring and claim victory. So Wardlow now does have a future TNT title opportunity. I believe they're going to be doing the match in 2 weeks, if I'm correct, because I believe this week on Dynamite they're doing Sammy Guevara versus, who is he facing for the TNT title? I know I forget, but I know he's defending the title on Wednesday. It's not Andrade. I think it's one of the former TNT champions. I'm not oh no, I know it is. It's Scorpio Sky from American Top Team. So yeah, he's facing Scorpio Sky for the TNT title, which should be a banger. And then the week after that, the winner of that match, the TNT champion, will face Wardlow. I want to say that Wardlow's gonna win the title in a couple weeks. And I know a lot of people would love to see that, but based on what happened later in the CM Punk MJF match, I think Wardlow's chances of winning just took a pretty steep drop, and we'll go over that in a little bit. But the Face of the Revolution ladder match, it was great. I enjoyed it. I know you guys enjoyed it as well. And Wardlow had no complaints here. I definitely thought it was going to be him or Keith Lee that would end up winning the match. No surprise that Wardlow won. Great stuff from everybody involved. Really, really good stuff. Next up, we had Jade Cargill versus Tay Conti for the TBS champion. Jade came in with a 28-0 undefeated record and was looking to continue that here tonight. And I'll give Jade credit. She probably had the best entrance of the night as well. She had a guitarist out there playing her theme. Guitar riff sounded beautiful. And she came in dressed as Scorpion. So she came in dressed as Scorpion, and yeah, it looked beautiful with the green hair. I was like, wow. I know Zelina Vega, like last year, she posted some videos with her dressed as Scorpion, but Jade killed it. Like, I was like, damn. Like Jade or not, man, she has the look to be a star in women's wrestling for years and years to come. And she looked beast in that outfit she had tonight. Really, really good stuff. So, anyway, Cargill kissed Gid Conti a nice little peck on the lips the start of the match. Remember last week, I believe it was last week, she gave Conti a kiss on the forehead Tonight it was a full on kiss on the lips. So if Jade swings that way, I'm not complaining at all. I know she has a daughter, but still, it was surprising. Cargill just giving her a straight up smooch in the middle of the ring. But anyway, uh, like yeah, Cargill went for a finisher, but Conti avoided that, and Conti went to remain control. So anyway, Conti took out Mark Sterling with a senton on the top rope. Cargill got mad and then just took Anna Jay with a pump. Took Anna Jay with a bro kick, pump kick, whatever you want to call it, and yeah, and it was funny. Then Cargill comes over to Sterling and like, get your ass up. I don't pay you to sit on the floor. But that was pretty funny. But yeah, back in the ring, Anna Jay hit Cargill with a chair while the ref wasn't looking, but it wasn't enough to keep the champ down. Conti hit the DD tray or the DDT or no, the DDT. What am I saying? Yeah, the DDT for a close 2 count. Cargill hit then a beautiful looking frog splash. I always say this for those of you guys who watch my WWE reviews. Sasha Banks has the most beautiful looking frog splash in the business for any women's wrestler, but Cargill's frog splash looked amazing tonight as well. Sasha better watch out. Somebody might be coming for that #1 spot. Anyway, yeah, Cargill with a beautiful frog splash for a near fall. She caught Conti come off the top rope and hit Jaded for the win to retain the TBS champion. And you look at it, this was Cargill's most competitive match since she's won the title, and this was good. It was good. Still, as always, Jade's a little bit, she's still fresh in the ring. Of course, she's still green, but she's getting better slowly. There was a little bit of a couple botches here and there, but still. I feel like if this match was on Rampage or Dynamite, people would be talking about it more. It's because you have so much star power on this card that it's gonna be hard for a match between Jade and what's her name? And Tay to stick out. It's gonna be hard. They still had a really good match, but when you have a pay-per-view card with the likes of CM Punk and Britt Baker and Adam Hangman Page, it's gonna be tough to top that. It's gonna be really tough to top that. But this was a really, really good match. Jade's now 29-0. We'll see who's next for her. Definitely I expect Ember Moon and Tegan Knox and Tony Storm to be in AEW any day now. So maybe that will bring some more competition for Jade, but still, she's looking better and better. She's getting better, and tonight was a really good defense for her. So good stuff here from the woman. Next up, match of the night, in my opinion. As good as the main event and the tag team match was, this was the match of the night. CM Punk, MJF, dog collar match. I thought this match would be put on a little bit later on in the show, but still, just because they put it at this point in the show didn't hurt it whatsoever. This was fantastic. You guys saw the segment between Punk and MJF from Wednesday on Dynamite. If you didn't, I don't know where you guys were. You guys missed it. Remember, MJF bloodied CM Punk by putting it in a dog collar, right? Punk was gashing. And then MJF cut CM Punk's old Ring of Honor promo when he called himself the Devil, right? So you knew Punk was going to be looking for payback. MJF started off the heel antics early, so they started off by playing CM Punk's Cult of Personality theme, but halfway through, Punk never came out because it was just MJF being heel MJF. So MJF came out, right? Not giving a crap, of course, being the heel that he is. Punk then would come out, but Punk would not come out in his normal music. Punk came out with his old Ring of Honor theme song. So very, very nostalgic. Of course, everything that's been talked about Ring of Honor since Tony Khan made the announcement this past Wednesday on Dynamite about him purchasing. It's getting a little hot in here. About him purchasing Ring of Honor, right? But it was, I don't know if like the he had to wait. I didn't know if he had to wait till after they made the announcement of him acquiring Ring of Honor for them to use Punk's old theme, because I'm willing to bet that Ring of Honor probably had the rights for the theme song. So either way, it was great. It was it was fantastic. Seeing Punk come out to the whole Ring of Honor theme, he even had his old jacket and everything. So that was pretty sick. NJF's face inside the ring was pretty hilarious as well. But so this was great. So anyway, they put the dog collar on both men, and then the match started. And Punk began to pull MJF towards him, but MJF whipped the chain into his face. Punk put him back into the ring, but missed whipping him with the chain. MJF got on his knees and tried to apologize, classic heel stuff, but Punk wasn't buying it. He kicked MJF in the face, stomped on his fingers. MJF trapped Punk's head for a kick in the corner and followed it with a powerbomb for a 2 count. Then he whipped Punk with a chain as the crowd booed. You could see the welts beginning to form on Punk's back, but of course Punk would get those welts back on MJF a little bit later on in the match. Then MJF used the chain to bust Punk wide open. Then he grabbed the mic and taunted him as he stomped him in the face, which was hilarious. The fact that he tried to cut a promo mid-match, which was great. And it was easy for Punk to get busted open because of what happened on Wednesday. He had that wound was still fresh, so it was easy for Punk to get busted open. And this was bloody. This was bloody. Moxley and Danielson and Punk and MJF, both matches got really bloody, and I loved it. Of course, I know those fans tonight in Orlando enjoyed it as well. So then Punk then regained control. He went for the GTS. MJF blocked it and locked in the salt of the earth armbar. Punk rolled him over to escape and put him in the Anaconda Vice. Which, if you think about it, we don't see Punk use the Anaconda Vice as much. He doesn't use it that often. So then he wrapped the chain around his knee and hit MJF with a Shining Wizard. He beat on MJF at ringside and threw him into the ring steps. They slowed the pace down a little bit, and they had to because, of course, both men, they took tons of punishment in that match. A dog collar match is not easy at all. At all. You have to be really coordinated with whoever you're working with because you're chained to one another. You can't just, do whatever you want because whatever you do is going to affect the person you're going up against. So MJF grabbed a bag of thumbtacks from under the ring and dumped them out. And I was like, oh, shit, we're doing that, right? We're doing that. And there was, before we got to the thumbtacks, MJF went for a pile driver on the apron, but Punk was able to reverse it and hit the pile driver back. There was actually a lot of pile drivers on tonight's show. It's like, AEW loves making that emphasis, like, WWE, because pile drivers are banned in WWE, but I saw at least maybe 4 or 5 of them tonight. So it's like, AEW was like, hey, WWE, we're going to keep doing what you don't like your superstars do. But Punk's pile driver on MJF may have been the best one of the night. Pretty brutal. Then back in the ring, MJF and Punk suplexed each other onto the thumbtacks, which was brutal. And you could see, like on CM Punk, for example, he was bleeding so much that his hair was being pulled down by the blood. It was crazy. And then you could see like the thumbtacks in both of their heads and stuff. brutal. Like both men tomorrow are gonna probably feel like absolute shit. So then MGF was calling for Warlow to come out and give him the diamond ring, right? But then Warlow came out dressed in a nice little blue suit, and MJF called for the ring, but for some reason Warlow couldn't find it. Right? He couldn't find it, and while he was talking with Warlow, Punk was able to recover. He hit the GTS, but that was not it. And he hit the GTS, and MJF fell right on the tax. And MJF's face, he was like, MJF did a beautiful job of selling it. I know he was actually in a lot of pain because thumbtacks in anybody's back is gonna hurt. But still, it was hilarious how MJF's face was. I loved how he sold it. So then Punk hit. So after that, then magically all of a sudden Warlow was able to find the ring, right? And I told you guys to remember how MGF smacked the shit out of Warlow Wednesday on Dynamite. So Warlow found the ring out of nowhere, and then he left it on the apron while looking at Punk. He didn't hand it to Punk, but you guys got the message. He's like, I'm just gonna leave the ring here, and whoever gets to use it, uses it. So he walks away. Punk took the ring and leveled MJF with one punch and got the win. So Punk gets his payback on MJF, right? And this story comes full circle all the way. Remember, MJF used the ring on Punk in Chicago about a month, a little over a month ago. So now, things come full circle, and Punk gets his payback in the dog collar match. And it seems that Warlow has turned on MJF. Nothing's official, but definitely that's going to be something to look forward to on Dynamite on Wednesday. What's going to happen between Warlow and MJF. And this is what I think is next for, MJF. So, based on whatever happens with the confrontation between Warlow and MJF, remember, Warlow has a TNT Championship opportunity coming, I believe, in 2 weeks, right? On the St. Patrick's Day Bash. So, what I think's going to happen, I think, no matter if it's Sammy Guevara or Scorpio Sky, it would be easy to pick Warlow to be the new TNT champion. I know a lot of people would like to see that, but what's most likely probably going to happen is, no matter who Warlow faces, Warlow's probably going to dominate, and it's going to look like he's going to win. But I'm willing to bet MJF's going to cost Warlow the TNT championship somehow. Maybe he sends Sean Spears out to cause disqualification, or maybe something else happened. But I think MJF's going to cost Warlow the TNT title, and that's going to start the feud officially between Warlow and MJF. So maybe you can call Warlow turning babyface tonight, even though Warlow's been acting babyface for a while. Maybe tonight was his official babyface turn. It's all going to depend on what happens the next couple weeks on AEW television. But still, this was a fantastic match, in my opinion. Great way to end the feud. Great way. There's really nothing else to do here with Punk and MJF. Unless you want to do a third match to kind of break the tie in a way. But, it's, with all the blood, these two beat the shit out of each other. I think this would be a good spot to end the feud for now. And then maybe, rekindle in the future. I could definitely see down the line, potentially one day, these two facing for the AEW World title. Because we know Punk and MJF, they're both main event players. They both want to be AEW World Champion. So, I don't know. I don't think this is the end between MJF and Punk. It might be the end for now, and it probably should be. But definitely I could see down the line these two facing off again. And what's interesting, let's just say, for example, MJF goes into a feud with Wardlow. I think that would make the most sense for MJF right now. Right? MJF should go into a feud with Wardlow. They finally do that. That's something that's been building for a long time. And I think now's the time that you pull the trigger on it. Adam Heyman Page is going to need a new AEW World Champion, number one contender. It's babyface versus babyface, but I don't think anybody's gonna complain if we get Punk versus Adam Page for the AEW World Title. I think I'm trying to think. There's other matches you could do, but definitely, if Punk's looking for a new feud now after tonight, with Revolution, I don't think anybody's gonna complain if they give us Punk versus Page. I don't think anybody's complaining. I do want to see also maybe Punk versus Adam Cole, but it's up to the AEW what they want to do there. But it is something to keep in mind on. What's next for MGF and Punk, both main event guys, now that they're done with this feud? Who knows? Maybe they do Punk versus Danielson. So I know a lot of people love to see those two rekindle their history, especially from their WWE days. But still, it'll be very interesting to see what they do with Punk and MJF now that this feud has been going on for like what 3 months now, close three, at least 3 months minimum, maybe even close to 4. But this feud's been going on for a grip. So definitely tonight did a great job finishing it off. Everything, the match, the story, the moments, everything was great. It'll be interesting to see what they do for both men from here. What's next for both Punk and MJF? We'll just have to wait for Dynamite to see. Next up, we had Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa for the AEW Women's World Championship. Another great match. What was a great card. Ooh, I'm starting to feel it, man. When you have a 4-hour show and then you decide to record a podcast right after, you do feel a little bit of that tiredness, man. I am starting to feel it a little bit, just in the eyes a little bit. But anyway, we're gonna keep grinding, man. We're not done yet. Not done yet. Not ready to call it a night yet. Anyway, so yes, a lot of people had been thinking that Thunder Rosa was gonna be the one to take the AEW Women's title off of Britt Baker. It would have been nobody would have been angry with it, right? Britt's had a really great run as AEW Woman Champion. And a lot of people thought it was eventually going to be Thunder Rosa to be the one to take the belt off her. Well, that wasn't the case. It wasn't the case here. I loved Britt's gear. She had a nice gold attire that matches her title. And they actually did debut tonight an updated version of the AEW Women's Championship. It looks beautiful. Beautiful. And of course, it looked great around Britt's waist. So these two went at it. Rosa managed to take Baker down a couple of times, right? And there was doing chants going on. They were voting for Britt. They was funding for Thunder. So it was like, let's go Thunder. Let's go. Or no, it was like, let's go Thunder DMD, right? So then Baker dropped Thunder with a neck breaker in the corner to regain control. Jamie Hayter and Rebel, helped Baker get an unfair advantage by distracting the ref, which is the case, of course, in a lot of Britt's matches. So they're attacking Thunder when his back was turned. And the thing is, the ref never took notice. Rose hit a German suplex out of nowhere to give herself a chance to recover, right? And the crowd was behind her. She hit a superplex and picked Baker up for a fireman's carry neck breaker. Rose prevented Britt then from putting in her lockjaw submission, but couldn't keep her down for the pin. Rosa spiked the champ with a tombstone prior driver, but Rebel kept the ref from making the count. So another beautiful pile driver. Like I said, there was like 4 or 5 of these pile drivers on the show tonight. Most of them were beautiful. Baker then hit a stomp onto the title belt, so the curb stomp, but Rosa found a way to kick out, right? I was like, okay, so I think Rosa's gonna win this. Rosa was able to make Britt tap with a submission, but the ref was distracted once again. Rosa then speared Rebel off the apron, right? Because she was getting tired of the interference. She took Hater down with a clothesline, but then Baker hit the stomp when she got back into the ring to get the pin and retain her title. And this was probably maybe the most surprising finish of the night, because I think a lot of people thought Thunder Rosa was going to be the one to take that title off of Britt, especially with all the victories and the history between the two, right? I honestly thought Thunder was going to win the match. I'm not complaining because I don't have any problems with Britt still being champion, but I thought it was going to be Thunder Rosa when, they've had Britt kind of run through many of the heads in the women's division. I don't know if they have a plan of somebody else that's going to take that title off of Britt. Maybe they have someone coming in, maybe an Ember Moon or something like that. But I was a little surprised that Britt did walk out as champ. I'm not complaining about it, right? I think Britt's amazing, of course, but I did think that Thunder Rosa was going to be the one to take the title off of her. But for now, that's not the case, and Britt continues her reign as AEW Women's Champion. So really good stuff between Britt and Thunder. Great match. And yeah, we'll see who's next for Britt. We'll see who's next to stand up to the DMD and her Women's Championship reign. There was no title changes on the show tonight, right? None. I thought this was the match most likely to have a title change, but no, there was no title changes on this pay-per-view tonight, but still, that didn't hurt the show in the slightest, in my opinion. Next up, we had one of the most hyped matches in the night, Bryan Danielson versus Jon Moxley. We know that... About to sneeze. Not a yawn, man. Ooh, it's been a long day. Anyway, we know that Bryan's been trying to convince Jon Moxley to become his new tag team partner, right? So they could, because Danielson believes that together that they could take over AEW. And remember, Moxley said, I don't team with anybody that I don't bleed with. Of course, the Shield, Eddie Kingston. So, and you knew this was going to be a war, right? And you knew that both men wanted to make each other bleed going into this. And man, was this fight. They had a really good video package where they showcase highlights from their time in Ring of Honor? I think it was Ring of Honor. But it was back, of course, when both men fought each other on the indies. Of course, they weren't going to show any of their footage back from 2013 when during the Yes movement in WWE, because it's WWE. They're not going to use WWE footage on AEW. But still, this was great. And like I said, Bryan, even though everyone wants Bryan to be a babyface, he's a fantastic heel. He's great at what he does. So these two went right at each other. And of course, at the beginning, it started off a little slowly paced with holds and takedowns and things of that nature. And Danielson played some great mind games in the corner. So Max slapped the shit out of him. So then Daniel kicked him right back and then did some jumping jacks to taunt him. Moxley then invited him to take a free shot, so Danielson did. Mox returned the slap with two of his own and a kick to the back. So these two were just going at it. This was great. So then they started trading strikes, and it ended with Moxley hitting a back elbow. So the aggression just continued to go. It increased as the match went on. The ref made sure it was all legal, right? Danielson climbed to the top rope but missed the driving headbutt. Danielson then hit a few running drop kicks in the corner, but Moxley took him down with a pair of suplexes. And Danielson was able to take control again with a guillotine, but Moxley was able to power out of it. So then they were fighting at ringside. Moxley was busted open, and man, he like I said, Punk, MJF, Danielson, and Moxley both were bleeding buckets tonight. Both are probably going to feel All four are gonna feel like shit tomorrow. So Moxie clawed at Danielson's back to make him bleed a bit more. So, like I said, both promised to make each other bleed and both delivered on their promises. So then Danielson hit a flurry of elbows to the face and then put Moxie in a dragon sleeper. Mox escaped and hit several elbow strikes. He locked in the bulldog choke, but Danielson countered with a suplex. He drilled Mox with a running knee for a close 2 count. Moxley refused to give up the triangle choke and then rolled over to Danielson to get the pin and the win, which shocked Danielson. Shocked. Of course, both men being very, very prideful, they decided to keep fighting after the bell. So then a bunch of referees came out to try to break them up. And during the confusion, or during the conflict, William Regal walked into the ring, and I was like, "What the hell?" I was like, "What the fuck?" Like I said, this was probably the most shocking moment of the night, because I thought I would never see. I thought I would never see William Regal in AEW. So William Regal slapped both Mox and Danielson in the face while getting a little bit of blood himself as well, trying to wake each other up, both of them up, like, what the fuck you guys are doing? You guys should be working together instead of fighting. And he had both men shake hands, and that was that. But William Regal is now all elite. Like I said, I honestly thought I would never see the day. I'm happy. I love William Regal, man. Maybe one day we'll hear him say War Games in AEW, man. Imagine if he did that. How for I feel bad for the loyal NXT fans, because NXT fans, you guys love William Regal for everything he did for that brand, and then for Vince and all of his yes men just to come in and then just ruin everything that was great with NXT. It's just sad. It's just sad. I never thought I would see the day when William Regal would no longer be in NXT. I thought that day would never come. I thought he was going to be the GM for years and years and years. It sucks. I'm happy for William Regal that he's in AEW, but I just thought that day would never come. And WWE still honestly be ashamed of themselves that they let William Regal walk. They should be ashamed of themselves, man. And this should tell you that anybody that gets released from the WWE, they have AEW on their radar right away. Anybody. Because would you ever truly predict that that William Regal of all people would end up in AEW? I never would predict it. No. So that's Vince's fault. It's pathetic if you ask me. I'm not gonna say I feel bad for Vince, because I don't. When you want to be selfish, when you want to be a selfish old man and think that, you can control everything, that's what you get. This is what you get. And I don't know what William Regal's role is going to be in AEW. I don't. Maybe he becomes a GM, because remember, AEW's never had an on-screen GM. So maybe that's what he ends up doing, right? Or maybe he ends up just doing this partnership with overseeing. Maybe he's just a manager for both Danielson and Moxley. I don't know. There's tons of things you can do with Regal. You can have him on commentary. You can have him be a manager. Remember, you already have Big Show and Mark Henry in there as well. So there's tons of things you could do with William Regal. I don't expect him to wrestle, but you never know. You have a 60-year-old freaking Sting wrestling these days, so anything's possible. But it is great to see William Regal in AEW. Him, bringing Moxley and Danielson tonight to kind of some sort of understanding. That was great, and it's gonna be great to see what happens with what happens with William Regal over the next couple weeks. It's definitely gonna be see what else he may be doing in AEW, but also what he does with the storyline between Moxley and Danielson. Well, will also be interesting. What happens next between Moxley and Danielson? Those two wanted to continue fighting after the bell, and I can see them going at it again. But for now, thanks to the help of William Regal, they've reached some sort of understanding. So what's next? What's next between these two? Are they going to be a tag team? Remember, Moxley is a babyface. Danielson's a heel. But who knows? Who knows? But still, I'm very invested in the storyline. I can't wait to see what happens next between these two. And Saturday Night Dynamite's gonna be must watch on Wednesday. Very good stuff. But yeah, like I said, pathetic that day to be let somebody like a legend like William Regal walk. Anyway, we then had a tornado trios match. So Matt Hardy, Andrade, Isaiah Cassidy versus Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin, and Sting. It was kind of quick. It was like, I think it was maybe a little less than 10 minutes. This was not the longest match, but definitely because of course everybody wanted to get to the main event. This was hard hitting, fun as hell. So Darby Allin had a little bit of a unique video to start off the match, and then he ran down to the ring and went after Isaiah Cassidy right away. Then Darby starts brawling with Andrade. Sammy then went to Isaiah, and Sting took out Matt Hardy. Right. So Darby put Jose in a trash can and held him in place. And then Sting held him in place, and then Allin nailed him with the suicide dive. Sammy hit him with hit Cassie with a beautiful springboard cutter. I love when Sammy does the springboard cutter. It is beautiful when he does it. And then these two just continued to go at it. So then we saw the Butcher and the Blade come out, and they were beating up Sting. So then Mark Quigg went up to try to help Cassidy. So then Guevara and Cassidy were fighting on top of the set, right? And Queen went after Guevara, but Guevara was able to fight him up. And then Sammy G, he was doing the crazy emoji because he is crazy, but I love Sammy Guevara. He hit a Spanish fly off the set through 2 tables. Brutal spot. I don't know how he does something like that, man, because there's not a lot of protection under the tables. So, I don't know how he does it, but that's something, Sammy it's going to be feeling tomorrow. His Spanish fly is beautiful, but I don't know how he does that crazy shit. Sting put Andrade through 4 tables in the crowd with a huge, I think it was a crossbody from the top of, he jumped off on top of one of the stanchions, right? Which was brutal. And then Allin hit the coffin drop on Hardy for the win in the middle of the ring. It was like Hardy was like in the middle of the ring. Allin barely caught him. He barely caught him. If Hardy was a little bit towards the top rope, a little bit more, it would have looked a little bit sooner. But at least Allin didn't waste any time. He went straight for the pin right after he hit the move. So the baby faces get the win in what was like chaotic Tornado's trio match, but an enjoyable one at the same time. Good stuff here with all 6 of these men. Like I said, one more time, I'll remind you guys, Sammy G will be defending the TNT title against Scorpio Sky this Wednesday on AEW Dynamite. Of course, Wardlow is going to be waiting because after winning the Face of the Revolution ladder match, he gets a TNT title match in 2 weeks on St. Patrick's Day for Dynamite, which should be fun. Last but not least, we had the main event, Adam versus Adam. Adam Page, Adam Cole, AEW World Championship. And going into this match, I thought it would be very, 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 very shocking if Adam Cole ended up winning this match. I wasn't going to complain, but still, I was not expecting Page to lose his title. I didn't think that was going to happen here. And it didn't. But still, these two put on one hell of a match in the main event. And let's go over it. So the crowd was on it the crowd was a little bit more on Cole's side, but Cole is from Orlando, so it made sense. But throughout the match, the crowd was chanting "Let's go, Adam!" So that was going, for both men, and this was good. Paige came out. Oh, not Paige. Cole came out wearing a Halo gear. He was wearing a Spartan vest. He had the the Master Chief tights. So that was cool. And remember, it's not often that you see a Adam Cole wearing costume themed gear, but he did decide to wear one tonight. So anyway, so they're going at it. Page threw Cole into the barricade a few times and hit a running boot to the face. Cole ducked a clothesline so Hangman would hit the post. Then he set Page into the steps. Cole kept the pace quite slow as he went after the champion. Page hit a few chops before Cole picked him up for a spinning powerbomb, which that was a weird spot because it almost looked like Page was gonna fall on his neck, which would have been bad, but both got out of it okay. So then Cole was talking trash like he always does, right? He was telling Page, "You would never be me. I will always be the better Adam." So then Page powerbombed Cole onto the apron and hit a huge moonsault all the way to the floor. Beautiful stuff. Cole then caught Page with a super kick when he went for another moonsault, but Page kicked out at 2. Page then hit the Deadeye, but scored a near fall. He also hit a tombstone again, but couldn't get the pin. So like I said, lots of tombstone pile drivers tonight. I don't know if they're just wanted to pay tribute to the Undertaker, but still lots of tombstones. The crowd was chanting "Fight Forever." Cole was getting ready to go for the Panama Sunrise, but then Page cut him off, climbed out the top rope. They hit him with a backflip fallaway slam. Then Red Dragon came out and they wanted to show support to Cole. Cole hit the Panama Sunrise on the floor, which was brutal. Cole then hit a low blow. He went then he hit another Panama Sunrise. So he hit 2 straight Panama Sunrise. He hit 2 Panama Sun. What am I? He hit 2 Panama Sunrises with a low blow. I don't know. I'm just messing my words, man. It's late at night. Forgive me, guys. But anyway, then he hit a running knee to the head for a near fall. Then Fish and O'Reilly set up a table next to the ring, but it was Cole who ended up going through it. So then the Dark Order ran down to check on Page, and then they started brawling with Red Dragon. Hangman was able to hit the buckshot lariat, but Cole grabbed the bottom rope to break the pin. This was such a great title match. Page unloaded on Cole with super kicks after trying his hand to the top rope. Right, so Page was getting payback because you guys remember on Dynamite on Wednesday, Red Dragon duct tape Page's hands to the rope, and Cole kept hitting him with super kicks. Then Cole was able to free himself, but ran into another kick. Then Page ended the match by hitting the last shot, and then followed up with one more buckshot lariat to get the win, and that was that. So Page closes out the show with a successful title defense. Fantastic match between Cole and Page. Fantastic stuff. I loved this match, man. And like I said, take your pick. Cole and Page, Punk and MJF, and the triple threat tag team match from the earlier in the show for the AEW tag titles. Take your pick between those 3 matches. Let me know in the comment section what was your favorite match of the night. But this was great. The main event was great. No surprises at the end here, right? No surprise new AEW stars. But this was great. I was surprised the Young Bucks didn't come out. you had Red Dragon, but they got taken out by the Dark Order here, so they didn't have too much to do with the finish of the match, which was a little bit surprising, but I wasn't complaining. I like how the focus for the most part was on what Paige and Cole were doing in the ring. And with the loss tonight, this is Cole's official first loss in AEW. Technically, he has two, but remember when he lost to Orange Cassidy on Dynamite about a month back? That was unsanctioned, so it didn't count toward his record. But now this is Cole's official first loss in AEW. But of course, it's no slouch. There's nothing. There's no shame in losing to the AEW World Champion, especially with the role that that Paige has been on. Paige has been killing it, right? Danielson, then beating Lance Archer. Now he's the pose of Adam Cole. So who's next? Who's next for the AEW World Champion? Like I said, I would not be surprised if Punk steps up to Adam Hangman Page first. You know, I know we don't have our next pay per view for another 2 months when we have Double or Nothing, but you know, you never know. You never know. I would not be surprised if you see CM Punk challenging Page on Wednesday. You know, he could do MJF, but I think MJF's gonna be dealing with Warlow now for the foreseeable future. So, you know, for at least now, I don't think we'll see Page and MJF going at it, but you never know. Anything can happen in AEW. But still, that was a fantastic match tonight, and we'll see what's next for Page. If I had to be a betting man, I would say Punk's probably going to be the next challenger for Page, but you never know. We'll see. We'll see. But you know, Cole, he's still in the middle of this thing with Red Dragon and the Young Bucks, so I think we know what's next for Cole, right? And maybe in the future he will end up being the AEW World Champion. You know, I'm not saying he doesn't deserve that because he does, but there's so much main event talent in AEW. So many people that you can make arguments of them being deserving of having reigns as AEW World Champion. It just makes it hard. It just makes it hard. So we'll just have to wait and see. But like I said, I can make an argument that Punk will be the next AEW World Champion. I could say the next one might be it could be MJF. There's so many people. So Cole's time to become AEW World Champion may come later. But, you know, still, we'll just have to wait and see. But awesome stuff with Page and Cole. And all in all, this was a fantastic, fantastic, fantastic show. I can't stop saying enough good things. There really wasn't any really low points. There really wasn't. Every match delivered. Some matches, of course, delivered more than others, but every match delivered. I can't really think of a moment where the show was flat. Maybe you could say a little for the women's matches. They were maybe a little bit quiet for Britt and Thunder Rosa, but they had a tough job of going after Punk and MJF, who, of course, you know, in my opinion, probably had the match of the night. So, not too much to complain about there. But still, the show was fantastic. You know, definitely Cole and Page, Punk and MJF, and the Triple Threat AEW Tag Team title match. Those are the three matches that stood out tonight. But everybody worked their asses off. And like the title suggests, I think this could end up being a better show than WrestleMania ends up being, if I'm being honest. I'm being, you know, I was talking to some of my friends in Discord, and they were saying, you know, this is better than WrestleMania. And, you know, I think this card tonight is better than the WrestleMania card we have at the moment. So, like, you never know. Maybe one in a couple weeks after WrestleMania comes and passes, maybe that's what you'll end up hearing me say. You'll end up hearing me say this was a better card than WrestleMania. But who knows? Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. But all in all, this was a great show, right? Like I said, the build-up was fantastic. The pay-per-view delivered. All the matches were great. And, man, AEW, great job tonight. You have William Regal make his debut. There was one more debut that I think I'm forgetting. Let me check. I'm trying to remember. Because let me look. Yeah, here it is. Swerve Strickland. Swerve Strickland, you guys, he's won titles everywhere. From remember Isaiah Scott from NXT, so another WWE talent that is now in uh AEW. WWE, man. Isaiah Scott should still be in NXT. I hate that he's not in WWE, but of course, he's gonna be amazing. He's gonna be an amazing addition to AEW. Definitely, you can throw him easily straight into the TNT Championship hunt. That mid card division continues to get more crazier and crazier by the day. Like I said, you can make arguments that everybody in that division should be champions. Just like you can make arguments that everybody in the main event scene should be a champion. It's just hard. Like, how do you decide who ends up being champions, man? Like it's hard, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But Isaiah Scott's now in AEW. Good for him. Right. And like I said, this show had everything. You had debuts, you had crazy moments, you had fantastic matches. The only thing that this show didn't have was title changes. There was no title changes on this show. I thought that Britt Baker would drop the title to Thunder Rosa tonight. I was wrong about that, but still, this was a fantastic show either way, even without any title changes. Really, really good stuff tonight on Revolution, and we'll see how AEW continues the momentum going to Wednesday on Dynamite. Remember, on Wednesday, we do have, or not Wednesday, or the next pay-per-view for AEW will be Double or Nothing in May. Let me read some stuff on social media. Let's see how other people react to the show. JD says, AEW Revolution was the single greatest AEW show ever, from top to bottom. Perfect. This is exactly what us, the fans, want with our professional wrestling. Thank you. Look, to me, no show's perfect, but this was probably the closest to a perfect pay-per-view you're gonna get. Right. This show was fantastic. It really, really was. This was a great show. I'm just reading through some of these tweets. Everyone talking about William Regal. Yeah. Everyone's going crazy, man. Let me know in the comment section, what was your favorite part of AEW Revolution tonight? But other than that, I'm gonna end the stream up here in just a sec. Thank you guys so very much for joining me here for tonight's stream. It feels good to be back. It feels good to talk some professional wrestling, talk about some good professional wrestling, right? Actual good wrestling. What we saw tonight, that's what wrestling is supposed to be. That's what wrestling should be. So Tony Khan, everyone creative, to all the superstars, man, you guys put out one hell of a show. And for the people at WWE, you should be ashamed of yourselves. So if I'm being 100%, man, you should be ashamed of yourselves, because look at what AEW is doing. Look at what AEW is doing. And they're doing it with superstars that were once on your roster once upon a time. Like, how hard is it just to book people consistently? Put them in storylines. Like, I don't know why WWE makes it so tough on themselves when AEW makes it so simple. I don't get it, but what do I know? What do I know? WWE cares more about calling Goldberg and Stone Cold Steve Austin, legends that they are, but WWE cares more about doing that and calling and leaning on celebrities for WrestleMania than using the talent they actually have on this show. But what do I know? What do I know? Right? AEW is giving you the formula how to give a good professional wrestling show, and that's exactly what we got tonight. AEW Revolution was a near flawless show, and everyone should be proud on the show that we got tonight. But other than that, guys, that's about all I got for you guys today. I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys so very much for joining me here on the Legit Shoot podcast. It's been a pleasure. Maybe I'll be back later this week with Raw or SmackDown, depending on how I'm feeling. But anyway, I will say this. I will have some WWE 2K22 content in the next couple of days. So make sure you guys are on the lookout for that with WWE coming out. Expect a lot of WWE 2K22 videos on the channel. But thank you guys so very much. Leave a like on the video if you guys enjoyed the review. If you guys did, subscribe by hitting the bell next to my name, Fitz TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. Thank you to everyone who live tweeted with me. You know, my Twitter and Instagram are down below. Thank you guys for everything. I will see you guys later. Stay safe and healthy, y'all.